Hi, I'm John Solari, your host of The Method Actor Speaks. And today I have a guest, Gayle, who I've been wanting to get on for the longest time. I've been watching her product. It's called Sex Butter. Now, for all you folks out there, I think you're going to find this interesting, and I'm hoping later on we can continue this and bring some of your lay friends in so we can find. But before I get into everything, I was wondering, one of the reasons why I wanted you on was because I was thinking about, now as a man, or a young guy, we have two heads.
Right.
And the other head doesn't have no conscience and never worries about, anyone's feelings or what it's doing. It just goes after its own satisfaction. Mm-hmm. And I was just wondering if that had anything to do with your wanting to create something for women.
Not really. It's not only just for women. It's actually for men too. So no, I would not say that. In fact, men. I have many men that buy it for their own personal use, and then I have men that buy it to be with their partners.
Oh, okay. So what made you really want to create it?
Well, it actually came out of a need. When I was 41, I went into a premature perimenopause, and my body literally shut down overnight. You could not even penetrate me with a Q-tip.
Really?
Really. That's not good.
No, that's not good.
And I was like, this is no way. I'm not going to have a sex life like this. I'm not going to have a sexless life. And I was in a relationship at the time, and all of a sudden, everything became excruciatingly painful. And I went to the doctor, and the doctor told me, I was going into menopause, and my body was changing, and that if I wanted to take hormones, I could fix the problem. Mm-hmm. Well, my mom passed away from cancer from taking hormones, so I didn't feel that was a good option for me. So he said, well, then go get some lube. So I went out into the marketplace and I started looking at the lubrication ingredients that were on the market, and they were just disgusting. I mean, you had like propylene glycol, which is really toxic. You have parabens, which cause cancer. You have aspartame, which is an unnatural sweetener that is completely toxic. And there was no way I wanted to use those things on my body parts. So I got involved in the world of natural inventors, and I met somebody who created my first version of Sex Butter.
Really? What did that entail? What was that like?
So it was a process of her constantly sending me ingredients that were mixed together and me testing it. And if I liked it, I would give it out to some other people. And if they liked it, more people would get it and more people would get it. And we went through 9 versions of that.
Before you got the right version?
Before we got my version 1.0.
Oh, okay.
And then last January, my business partner says, I don't want to do this anymore. And I was like, okay. So I had to find somebody else. So I found a microbiologist who was amazing. And he created our version 2.0 of Sex Butter, which is literally double the potency, and it is amazing. And everybody that was using the 1.0 that has already purchased the 2.0, which are quite a few people, are raving about it. And they said, you know what, we didn't even think that anything could be better than the first version, but you did it.
That must be a nice...
I felt really good, and it smells really good.
What is it? Can I smell it?
Yeah. Yeah. So I have some here. This is what it looks like when you buy it. It's in a little jar. It has a little Sex Butter label. It kind of looks like a high-end eye cream.
Yeah. Okay.
It's not racy. It's just beautiful. It's beautifully packaged. And so I brought a little sample here. And how about if I rub some on your hand? Now I want you to see how little I used and how lubricating it is, just from just a little bit. I mean, I didn't even use the size of a dime. And we're like almost covering the back of your hand here. In fact, we are covering the back of your hand.
You are.
So that kind of shows you like how little of it you need. And what happens is it actually absorbs. It smells like a peppermint patty.
Yes, I was going to say that.
Does
One
it
of my
smell good?
favorite, yes.
I love it.
I love eating them, so...
I know, but I love the smell of peppermint patties. Hey, dark chocolate and mint.
Dark chocolate and
How
mint.
could you not love that, right?
Oh, that's wonderful.
So not only that, you smell good. And what happens is when this is actually applied either to the penis, the vagina, the clitoris, what happens is it actually heightens the sensation. So you start to feel a warming sensation, and you feel your body down there. And then
Yeah,
the orgasms are so much more intense.
really.
And for women that have no libido, like let's say you have no desire, all you have to do is apply a little bit. All of a sudden you start feeling yourself and the desire is there. And the same thing for men. I've had men that could become erect. They could get hard, but they could not actually have ejaculation.
Really?
And so they asked me. In fact, I had somebody email me about this 2 weeks ago. And I said, yes, this will push you over the edge. So for any woman that is frigid or having trouble having orgasms, or let's say never had an orgasm, Sex Better is amazing because what it does is it relaxes you enough into your body and allows you to feel your body, so much so that you actually relax and it's much more easier to have an orgasm.
It's, you said something about never having an orgasm, women. I was amazed. Years ago I met a woman and she was 35 at the time. Mm-hmm. And she told me I was the first man to ever make her climax. And it was thinking, what do you mean?
You were shocked, right?
Really, I was.
But you know what? It's not shocking because there are many women that never ever have a climax in their entire life because they don't know how to relax into it enough. They don't know their own body. They're not masturbating. They're not touching themselves. So they don't know what feels good to them. And then they want a man to all of a sudden know what feels good to them. And a lot of men don't really know what they're doing. They're having fun.
Goes back to that other head.
And it's about their head, and about their orgasm. It's not really, and the thing about it is, if you please the female first, she'll do anything for you.
Yeah.
Anything.
I have to admit, the next day she wanted me to move in. And she didn't want me to work. She wanted me in bed.
She wanted you to be the boy toy.
I mean, it was incredible. You're right. I mean, and I learned something that a woman, I learned, because when she told me she never had a climax, I just couldn't believe that women didn't have climaxes, because it's so easy for a man. I remember as a teenager, I would look at a woman and I would come.
It's like between 30s and 40% range of females that never have climaxes, ever.
It's just amazing.
And there's quite a few women, most women never orgasm during penetration. They have to orgasm either manually or orally.
Wow.
Or with a vibrator.
Well, yeah, thank God for the vibrators, I guess. Right?
Exactly. Especially when you don't have a partner, right?
Well, yeah, the men, that's amazing. And is there any experience, some of the feedback, can you talk about any of that?
Oh, absolutely. Would you like to? Yeah, I can talk about a lot of the feedback. So one of the inspirations for me, this is a really important thing, and it is because it affects so many people. How many people would you say have cancer or have had cancer and survived? Many, right?
Many, yes.
Okay.
Today.
So what the doctors don't tell you when you have chemotherapy is that for a female, basically your whole vaginal area is pretty much going to be ruined, and you're not going to really get your libido back, and you're going to always have pain and problems down there. They don't tell you that because, look, they're interested in saving your life. They're not really interested in your sex life.
Sex life, yes.
Well, but this is a very devastating thing for people, especially when people are at a young age. So I met a woman who was 35 years old at the time. And about 3 years prior, she had cancer. She was finishing up chemo, which she had for 2 years. Mm-hmm. And she was in excruciating pain. She told me that she has not had sex with her husband for 3 years because she can't, because it is so painful. And I said to her, you know what, I'm going to give you some of this product. This is before I actually had it out on the market, because I just had it made for me originally. And I said, I'm going to give you some of this product, but I want you to use a little bit of it, just a little, every day in the morning and the night, because you need to do some healing first, because you've had a lot of damage down there. And she did, and she called me up after the first day and she was crying. And I didn't understand why. And what she told me was she always felt like she had a urinary tract infection. So when she would go to the restroom, it was burning and it would be bloody. So it was really uncomfortable. And think about how many times you go to the restroom, several times a day. Well, that was very painful for her. And then I said, okay, but keep using it. Just keep doing what I'm doing. Don't have sex yet. Wait for a week and then you can do it. They both called me crying after a week because it was the first time that they were able to have sex in like 5 years, since she started the chemo. And it was, they were literally on the verge of probably breaking up because it was ruining their lives. And they were at such a young age. That is a very difficult time to say, okay, that's going to be the end of our sex life at the age of 35. Think about what you were like when you were 35, John.
Right. Well, I remember, yes, and yes, really. And I'm thinking, we're talking here about it, and I'm thinking, how many women out there are really embarrassed to try this?
Let me tell you, how many women are ashamed to talk about the sexual issues? There are 15 to 30 million women today that will experience sexual pain during their lifetime. And nobody is talking about it. And the reason is because they're ashamed. Because they think that they're the only ones. When I first had this problem, I went out and I was talking to all my friends. None of them had this issue. None of them were in menopause. I even talked to older people. None of them had these problems.
What was their reaction when you did do this?
Well, they were just like, something might be wrong with you. And I was thinking, maybe there is something wrong with me. And then I'd ask my mom. Now, my mom had been on hormone replacement therapy, so she never really had that issue. And in the old days, that's what people did, until they found out that hormone replacement therapy was causing cancer quite a bit. Wow. And so in about 2007, hormone replacement therapy was not so popular anymore by that time. So, after all of this, I was starting to think something was really wrong with me. And I was so grateful when I found that there was something that I could do for myself so that I didn't have to be like this for the rest of my life. And then I found out when it helped this other woman, I was like, that just really gave me the inspiration to see that there's so many people that want the product, but there are even more people that need the product.
Need it, yeah.
And really need it, not because they need to be codependent or for a negative reason, but because they need to enhance their sex life. If you're not having orgasms, you need this product. You know what I'm saying? And if you're in sexual pain, you need this product. I do not know of any other product on the market, unless they're taking hormones, that relieves sexual pain.
Well, while you said that, so we don't forget later on, just tell them how they can get
So they can get Sex Butter at sexbutter.net.
And also on Facebook.
Facebook, we have a Sex Butter page.
That's great. That's really wonderful. And what I'm thinking here, that, there's so many women out there, and especially older women, which I like to talk about because, being an older male now, and all my life I was always attracted to older women for some reason. But now some of them are getting too old. But the ones that I do find, I find women that are over 60 or something like that, don't have that sex drive.
Right. So Sex Butter is amazing for that, because all you have to do is apply a little bit, and I'm telling you, it works within a minute. It's not like hours that you have to wait. You don't have to take herbs every day. You don't have to be on drugs. I mean, literally, it's a topical organic product that makes you feel good. How bad could it be? It's healthy. It's food grade edible. There are no parabens, no chemicals, no petroleum oils in it, no petrochemicals, no junk.
So it's all organic and it's safe.
Yes, it's safe and it's
it's
healthy.
edible.
And a lot of these oils
It's
you have either eaten or used on your skin at some point in time.
Right. Because the big phase now, we were talking before, is coconut oil.
And we have coconut oil in this product. That's one of our ingredients.
Peppermint oil is very good for you. I smell the peppermint.
Yes.
And peppermint is very good. I know, I was reading about, because I take peppermint every day, for breath. But it's also good for your blood.
Well, it also stimulates your nerves.
Is that what it does?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And so actually that is the active ingredient that we use. We don't use menthol, and we don't use irritants like all of those other brands that have chemicals in them. We use peppermint because it's natural and it makes you feel good. And it's good for you.
Well, I'm very healthy. I can't believe, that I'm that healthy. And something you mentioned something earlier about men not being able to climax, to come.
Yes.
And I was wondering, I had an enlarged prostate that they gave me this.
Medication?
No, not medication. They gave me this where they went in with a laser.
Okay.
And made it smaller. So
right.
now I can urinate like a teenager again. But the side effects was the sperm. He said you might not be able to
Ejaculate?
ejaculate, and because of that. And I was just wondering, because I do ejaculate, but not as powerful as I did before.
So this will work on it. This will work.
I mean, I do, but it doesn't stop me from climaxing. It's
Right,
just
but it'll be more intense, more
Right.
intensified.
And
Yes.
like when I was younger, and that, which was
Well, it brings the sexual energy, to the area. So that's what it's doing, is it's drawing the blood flow to the area. The blood flow is what creates the erection,
right.
right? So,
I told people that's why I stopped smoking, because it made me smaller because of the blood flow. I said, now I'm bigger again. Stop smoking.
that's a good one. Hey, who knew? You stop smoking, you get a larger size. So that's wonderful. Good side effect. Now you know you shouldn't be smoking, right?
Right. I never knew, but it was that, and the blood circulation is just amazing. I wanted to ask you, what is the age range of people who do come for your product?
I actually don't know.
You don't
Because when people order the product, I don't ask them how old they are. I think that, especially for females that are ordering, that would be quite offensive.
Really, if there was a survey, any way to, confidentially, if women would say on Facebook or website, if they could, because it'd be interesting to know. And to promote it, I really think, I'm sitting there thinking, the reason I wanted you on and why I want you back on.
Oh,
No, really, because I would love for you to bring some of your, your friends who can talk about it.
Oh, I do have a lot of friends. Well, you know what? They're not my friends. They're my clients. I'll tell you something. You know what? Let me tell you one thing. Don't sell your friends anything. Trust me. I do not sell my friends anything. I do not push my product on my friends. I do not even ask them to buy the product. They have to approach me.
Right, but that's the best way.
Yep.
And,
That's right.
I've always been that way in life. If you approach me, okay, fine.
But you know what? It's funny because you think your friends would be the easier sell. They're the hardest sell. The
This is-
hardest sell.
Really, put that there where it looks good.
Where it looks good.
Yeah.
Sex butter, baby.
And really, I'm so happy for you that you got this, and that people can hear this, because men, as you said, men need it, but women. There's so many good-looking, attractive women out there who don't have that sex
They have no
drive.
sex drives. And you know what? People think that you have to be like a woman who's like 50 or 60 or 70, like somebody who they consider middle-aged or old.
Mhm.
Well, I have to tell you something. First of all, the pill decreases your sex drive. So how many people do you think are on the pill? Antidepressants decrease your sex drive, and most of the time you don't have a sex drive when you take antidepressants, as well as blood pressure medication. So now you're talking about a lot of people with either low libido or no libido. And, if you think about it, doctors are very easy to prescribe antidepressants on a very regular basis. And, that's sad to me.
Well, a lot of them get kickbacks too from the pharmaceutical companies. And this
That's
and
true.
that,
But you know what ends up happening is their clients are the ones who are suffering.
Right. We're given doctors are so quick to give you pills and whatever, because to get, to be safe.
Yep.
Lawsuits, lawyers.
Well, the thing that gets me about antidepressants is if somebody was having orgasms regularly, it raises the dopamine levels and you start to feel better. You start to feel happy, and there are so many amazing side effects from having orgasms. I don't know if you know this, but basically your circulation increases, it increases your immunity, it increases your pain tolerance, and if you have pain, it releases pain. An orgasm can release a headache. So there's no more excuses of, not now, honey, I have a headache. That's the time you should be having sex, not running away from it. I know you think, oh my God, but seriously, it helps you sleep better. It makes your skin glow. It's an anti-aging, it really is anti-aging for the skin. There are so many reasons that sex is so beneficial for people. And people are so afraid of it in so many ways.
Why do you think
they don't talk about it? Well, if women are sexually free, people automatically assume they're promiscuous or slutty, and they don't want to have that reputation. I'll tell you something, just because I represent and created a product for sex, people all the time ask me, if I'm going to, show them how to use it, if I'm going to put it on a webcam. I'm like, I'm not a porn star. I created a product.
Yes.
It happens to be a sexually oriented product, but it's also a health oriented product too. It's not like I created some junk and I'm out there, throwing my body around all over the place.
No. And I guess you're right. Automatically, when a woman is selling a sex product, you think right away, oh.
They assume.
They assume.
And you know what? Never assume, right?
Never assume, because it's like when I was young, it was the girls that looked like the Catholic school girls.
Yeah, they were the wildest ones. The ones in Catholic school.
Right.
I know. When we went, when I was in high school, the guys always knew if you went to the all girls school, you were going to definitely, find somebody and you were going to be able to hook up.
Right. The girls who looked like they were having sex usually weren't. The ones that showed their body and this and that. Mm-hmm. They usually weren't having sex. And I always found the librarian look so much sexier. Class is so much sexier. Mm-hmm. And that's why when you say the name Sex Butter, it's almost like it has class to it, the name.
Yeah.
Sex Butter.
Well, you know what I think is sad is that, when I've been networking at women's events and stuff, women are very afraid of the name. And you know what? Sex is such a natural thing. It's how you were born. It's what got you here. So why is everybody so ashamed of it? I mean, it's a beautiful thing if it's between two people that are enjoying themselves and doing it. Or yeah, that's true. But I'm just saying, like, if you're doing it, if you're actively participating by choice and you're not being forced into something, in some negative way, sex is a beautiful thing. It really is.
There's nothing better.
No. And you know what? We were built to have pleasure.
Right.
Do you know that the only purpose of the clitoris for a female is literally pleasure? There is no other functional purpose for the clitoris. Did you know that?
Well, yes, I did. I enjoy women, so I want to know about them. I don't pretend to understand them. I never will. We're two different species, I believe, and your needs are a lot greater than mine, I think, at times, because it takes a little longer for a woman, right?
Oh yeah. Usually, the average it takes is 20 minutes for a female to orgasm.
It takes a man, very little. And let's end on that and do part 2 in a minute, all right?
Okay.
This is The Method Actor Speaks, and we're going to do part 2 in a minute. And if I can ever stop this thing from running, it'd be great.